Hey parents, welcome to the Mommy Pod, where we keep it real about parenthood. The joy, the chaos, and everything in between. I'm your host, a single mom, educator, and everyday woman learning to give herself grace while chasing her dreams. Whether you're folding laundry, stuck in traffic, or sneaking in 5 minutes of peace, this space is your reminder that you're not alone. And you're doing better than you think. So, grab a coffee, grab a tea, grab a drink, take a deep breath, and let's get into today's episode. Hi everyone, today we're joined by Tradara McLaurine, an author, entrepreneur, speaker, and 3-time graduate of Indiana State University with degrees in accounting, legal studies, and student affairs, along with a women's entrepreneurship certificate from Cornell. With over 15 years in higher education, Tradara has worked in career advising, student conduct, teaching, and leadership development, empowering individuals and organizations to grow and succeed. She's also the author of 4 children's books that inspire confidence, creativity, and was recognized as one of Très Haut's 12 Under 40. And she also owns a Challenge Island franchise, delivering STEM-based learning experiences for youth. But beyond the titles and achievement, Tradara is a mom, navigating work, ambition, and family, learning that mom is only a part of who she is. Tradara, welcome to the Mommy Pod.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Can you tell us about your accomplishments? You have such a resume. Can you please tell us about your accomplishments and who you are outside of your titles?
Sure. Great question, because I really I understand the value of the titles and importance of it, but I feel like we are so much more than that. I am a first generation college student, and when I went to college, I would say my goal was to make sure that I kind of leveled up and was at a different trajectory than what I've seen others go through. So with that, I pretty much majored in accounting and legal studies because I felt like those were the 2 careers that could make me the most money. I didn't have an issue with having a debate or conversations with someone. And then I liked the math of the accounting, so I wanted to combine it. But it wasn't until I had an internship experience and I realized that I did not like accounting where I went and changed my path completely. And I went into higher education. Before, as I mentioned, being a first generation college student, I felt like higher education was just the professors and the teachers. I didn't know how much was being done behind the scenes and that you can make a career out of that. But I was growing up and being told that having a plan B was important. So entrepreneurship, I feel like, came naturally for me with making sure I had something being done in the background. So with that, growing up, I wanted to be I wanted to be an author. I didn't really pivot it or pinpoint it into something. So I've written poetry since I was a little girl, and I used to try to write for TV shows because I enjoyed doing that. And then I published and wrote my first children's book in 2017 that is called Why Mommy Works and Why Daddy Works, with the emphasis being, honestly, my daughter and her father were the motivation behind that. He started working a night shift position, and then my daughter didn't understand why he wasn't at home as much during the day as he was in the past. So I wrote the Why Daddy Works book to help explain to her why we work, because we had to do that daycare drop off. If any of my moms know about how that life goes and that journey. And this book was written for her to understand it at her age level with being 3. And then shortly after that, I continued to write children's books. I've written 4 so far. I Want a Nickname is one. And that, again, was kind of motivated by my daughter. She has a unique name, and she was frustrated with her name being constantly mispronounced in school. And she wanted to have a nickname. She came home and asked for that, so it wouldn't be mispronounced. And then my most recent book is my first early reader, and that one is called MVP's Playbook. And that book was written honestly to introduce children to prayer. I wrote that I taught my kids how to pray. And I felt like for me, when I was being taught, it was more so the praying over your food and praying before you go to bed. But I wanted them to learn how prayer works and provide a format. And I wrote it for boys. So it focuses on a father son relationship. It focuses on a father who gets injured. A son who gets injured playing basketball and his journey back to faith. So I love the connection between an earthly father and a heavenly father. So I did that. And then I've been speaking since 2017 as well. So I go to different organizations and associations and I speak about work life balance and how I believe that it's a myth and it doesn't exist. And recently, as early as 2023, I have a STEM franchise. So I'm part of a STEM franchise, and we provide STEM learning experiences to kids K through 8. And it's all device free. So we are taking the kids completely off of the devices and we're teaching them how to incorporate the components of STEM and problem solving without relying on our devices to help us solve our problems. So I don't know, plan B was the motivation behind all of this. And then, of course, increasing representation for little boys, girls.
That is so great. And you answered the next two questions that I had. You answered what motivated your journeys. And I guess you didn't really see yourself at first as an entrepreneur and author, but you became that. You made it happen.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. No, I actually enjoyed it. I took an English class my freshman year and wanted to change my major. At that time, I wasn't going to do accounting and legal studies and I wanted to go into writing. But I had my English professor actually was like, well, if you want to be a starving artist, go ahead and do that. And that was not my motivation at the time. I did not want to think about anything starving or not making money. So I stuck with my career. And it was my grandmother actually who read my first book and said, Tradara, there are probably a lot of parents and families that are going through trying to explain to their children why they have jobs and why they're working so hard. So you might want to see if you can turn that into something. So that's what I did.
That is so great. That is so true. I love that. It's so good. It's so
Yeah.
important to create a business off of what you're already doing.
Yes.
I
Yes. It
feel
makes it
so.
easier a little bit.
So what does work-life balance mean to you?
Yes. So to me, I don't believe work life balance exists. I
Mhm.
believe that the term work life balance stresses us out, or at least for me, it stresses me out because I'm trying to achieve something that is ever moving. It's a constant moving target. And my definition of balance or how I look at it is when you have a scale, basically, you're saying balance is things of equal weight. If you ever seen those scales and you put marbles on it and everything, if you have three over here and one over here, it's rocky, it's constantly shaking. It's never still. And I feel as if that is what us trying to achieve work life balance is trying to achieve a stillness. So you have to make a move, you have to pivot. Sometimes work will take 60% of your time, and sometimes it will take 40. Even right now, I say I'm working in this capacity. My kids are not, they're doing school. So my attention isn't necessarily on them right now. But if I was to get a phone call that says, hey, you need to come pick a kid up, now all of a sudden this is about to shift. And I have to pick up kids for, that's going to have a higher weight. So our lives are more collaborative than I believe we give them credit for. And we stress ourselves out trying to balance it.
That's true. That's so good. And why do you think that so many of us stress ourselves out trying to balance it and feel so much pressure to do everything all the time?
Yeah, I think it just comes from society. I think it comes from that was a good word for us to say we're trying to take care of ourselves. And it's saying, yeah, we need to have more work-life balance. And we do need to have it. You don't need to put all your time into one thing because you are going to neglect another by doing that. I just don't know necessarily if balance was the right term that we should have said. And for me, I feel like the same thing comes even when we talk about self-care. I used to hear that a lot about how I did try to achieve balance. I would not take a lunch break if I didn't need to, But the reason why I would do that, I would eat at my desk because I wanted to make sure I got my kids to their activities on time. So I would rather work through lunch and get off earlier so I can take them to their activities rather than let me take a lunch break and just do that. However, listening to our bodies, I believe, is very important. And that is something that I believe sometimes we neglect. If there's a hard day or I'm having a rough day at work, I am no fan. I'm not opposed to saying, okay, this is a lunch break that I actually need to take and I don't need to work and I need to just eat or I just need to listen to music or I need to listen to a book or a podcast. Like I know when my body is telling me I need to break and just do something. But I think we take the self out of self care a lot, and we're listening to how others tell us we need to take care of ourselves rather than listening to our bodies and learning how to take care of ourselves and fill our cup up the way that we need.
Yeah. And how did you learn to to say no and to be able to fill that cup and learn to stop and listen to yourself, see what you need, and be able to tell others your boundary?
Sure, still learning. I can say that that is something that I'm still learning to do. Guilt was something that was really hard. I also would say being a young mother and learning professionalism and learning what it meant. I am listening to everybody who came before me. So when they're saying, Tradara, this isn't a healthy habit, I'm like, oh, it's not a healthy habit and I need to change it. But I realized it wasn't working for me. The best example that I can give, it actually happened recently. I used to take my computer on vacations with me. And I feel as if an entrepreneur, sometimes you have to do that. Like your company is your baby. So there's certain things like you can have parameters in place for it to run while you're gone, but there are certain things you need to stay, abreast to. So I took my computer with me and I didn't touch it like at all through the vacation. And I said, I'm going to try this thing. And because my mom used to say, you can't not work. You just feel like you have to work. So I brought it with me in case there was an emergency. But if there was an emergency, I didn't touch it at all. And when I got back, I felt so out of whack. And it was like a horrible experience for me because I did devote 100% of my time into family that when I got back, I couldn't now send the family away. They stayed there. So, when they wanted to, hey, mom, let's watch a movie. Hey, mom, just do that. I spent 100% of my time with y'all last week. And now I have 100 emails that I got to read and I got to approve, different payrolls and I got to respond to this and to do that. And all of that work was waiting for me. It did not go away. So that was where I learned the biggest setup of I can't listen to y'all because I don't have a job that I clock out of and the work is there waiting for me tomorrow. But there is a difference between emergencies. And I did learn that. I also learned saying no to things that are not benefiting me to where I want to go. And that's where, like speaking gigs, for example, I've started to be more strategic about the ones that I accept. I don't accept everyone. I have to weigh the options about whether or not it's valuable at the time because ultimately you are going to take me away from my family. You're going to take me away from myself when I start to travel. I look at a kid's game schedule and see how I can do that. So figuring out what my values are, making sure I'm aligned with that and making sure that the opportunities that I do say yes to are getting me closer to the ultimate goal that I want to achieve.
Do your kids love stories, colors, castles, and adventures? Well, Princess Liliana and the Rainbow Castle is more than just a storybook. It's an interactive journey where little readers explore colors while building imagination. From the sunny yellows of the Golden Hall to the sparkling blue sapphire shoes that she wears. Each page bursts with magic. Plus, it comes with a coloring book and activity pages, so the fun continues even after the story. It's perfect for toddlers, preschoolers, and early readers. Turn rainy days into rainbow days with Princess Liliana and the Rainbow Castle. It's the perfect way to teach your little ones colors while sparkling their imagination. It's available now on Amazon KDP. Yes, that's really great. And I was going to ask what changed in your life once you started to set those boundaries, but you kind of answered it.
Yeah.
But if you want to touch on it a little bit more, but it seems like once, excuse me, once you're able to set those boundaries and realize what you need, you were able to maybe schedule things a little differently or.
Yeah. What I would say what changed is I would say the example I just gave was more validation.
Mhm.
It was validation for a couple of reasons. It was proving people wrong. I can't go without my computer. I don't need it. It was also really me being able to put into practice what I was saying. This crap is hard if I do 100% of this all the time, and then I come back and do this when things are not going to remove itself. Um, I just started to get tired. One thing is my memory. I pride myself on saying I have a good memory. I do know as I'm getting older that that will change, but I started realizing that I was forgetting things, like things that I should not forget, I was forgetting. And that helped me learn, okay, something's out of whack and I need to fix it. I also had to learn how to trust people and I had to learn how to ask for help. And that's where I was showing that I did not have that. Even when it came down to staffing, it was more so like, let me make sure I do this because I know it's going to be done right. I know that it's going to be done on time. But with doing that, I just kept stretching myself thinner and thinner. And I couldn't do that anymore because it was stifling where I ultimately wanted to end up because I'm doing all the work that I would say, like grown past. It's not that I can't do it, but I have to realize where my time is better used. And something as simple as in which I was told it was bougie, but something as simple as a housekeeper freed up a lot of my time. So it's not like I can't clean my house and I don't know how to clean my house, but can that hour or two of me cleaning my house be better used to support my family in another way? And that's how I had to change my mind.
Mhm.
And at first I was really telling myself that, oh, that's a waste of money. And are you too bougie where you can't clean your own house? Like I was telling myself all these things to talk myself out of that. And then I realized how much free time doing that did for me and for my family, and how much of that is an investment in me and my family versus the other naysayers and that was in my head and what I was telling myself that I wasn't capable of doing.
How do you nurture yourself and your identity outside of motherhood then with.
Yeah. So I'm learning that every day. One thing that I'm starting to with my identity, and I wrote a talk about this, it's talking about is change your shoes. So I say that we wear different shoes in our lives and they teach us different lessons. So with my identity and staying true to that, I stay focused to different things, whether that be church. I go there, I go to church often. I realize my hobbies is music. I enjoy that. And then, like I said, learning how to listen to my body. And therapy has helped me a lot with learning that. Before I was trying to figure it out on my own. And there, of course, are those connotations for therapy, especially in a community of people of color. But going to therapy has helped me learn to listen to my body more, helped me learn to know when I need to refresh, helped me learn when I need to pour into my own cup and how to give myself grace. Because I realized I was not giving myself grace when I fell short. I'm my own worst critic, and I sometimes feel like I'm my own worst enemy. So going to therapy and learning those tools has really helped me stay true to myself, listen to myself, and learn how to pivot and navigate.
Why was it a challenge, and why do you think that so many moms find it to be challenging to ask people for help?
Yeah, sure. For me, it's layered. I feel as if asking for help showed weakness. It showed that I wasn't capable. Um, I don't. It showed all negative things in my opinion. Asking for help, it was like you can't do it, so you're asking for somebody for help. And I felt as if you gotten to a certain age, I should be able to do this. I don't know. I felt like you. It's kind of like when you say, "I can't wait to be grown," or "I can't wait to be an adult." I felt like everything was supposed to click,
Mhm.
and so why am I asking for help? And I say the same thing at work. I'm in a leadership role. I supervise people. I can't be asking for help. People come to me for help. So it just didn't sit right with learning how to ask for help. I looked at it really solely on me, but I'm learning that you're only as good as the team that's around you. and you have to be able to build your team as much and let your team build you, and allowing for failure on both sides. Like, we learn when we fail. My team and those that are around me will never learn if I'm stopping them from opportunities to fail. So making sure that I'm creating a culture where, you know, failure isn't the desire, but if it happens, we know how to get back up and overcome from it. So that's where I had to just reshape everything. And I took leadership very seriously. Once I got promoted in my position at work years ago, I took that seriously. Like, I took that position of having people reporting to me seriously. I took that position of representing something bigger than me very serious. And I needed to make sure that I was nurturing them and learning how to nurture them. I just felt like I wanted to know what I wanted, or I wanted to provide something that I felt like I would have wanted if I was in their position. My favorite example, and I still tell my team to this day, I don't want you to have to sneak around to find a job. I don't know about you, but whenever I would do a job search, I never told my boss that I was job searching. I did it on the low. You know, I picked other people to serve as references, and I used sick days or PTO days to go do the interview, but I never told anybody, you know, never told my boss that I was looking for a job. And I realized one day that that was so, I mean, it's smart, but it, depending on your relationship, but it's also kind of stupid too, because who else is going to be able to talk about how well I work than the person that I report to, if that relationship is solid. So I would tell my team all the time, when you are ready to job search, I can't take that personal. I can take that as in something here you're not providing. You're ready to grow. You've learned what you need to go fly and go impact others. So let me know so I can serve as your reference. Let me know. So if I see a different position that's available for it, I can like push that to you. And I know that that's what you are trying to achieve. And sometimes I feel like that's where we fall short, is
Mhm.
that we're so busy thinking about the I and the my company and the me and the impact of that departure will have on us, that we're not thinking about the people that we're trying to grow. So once I stopped looking internally at Tradara and started looking at everybody else, that changed with the asking for help.
Yeah, that's really good. How can moms begin to listen to their bodies instead of pushing through exhaustion and then ask for that help?
Yeah. I still push through exhaustion. Uh, I push through exhaustion. I'm going to be honest. I will
Yeah.
do that.
So you keep
That's
going,
the
but how,
reality.
so then what helps you push through exhaustion when you are exhausted and you've had it? What is that one thing that helps you push through?
Learning, staying true to my values. I realize, like I said, my memory is one. That's where I would say look at the things that on your normal day you know you're good at. So on my normal day, I know my memory is great. On my normal day, I have great patience and little things don't annoy me. So another example, if my kid were to drop a cup in its spill on a normal happy day, that's not going to cause me to yell. That's not going to cause me to scream. I'm not going to have that adverse reaction because a cup fell and it spilled and it's something that I can clean up, right? But when I'm tired, I realize, oh, okay, I just yelled at something that I know on a good day, if everything was going the way that it's supposed to go, I wouldn't probably yell at that. And that's what was helping me know, okay, I might be tired. This is bigger than the kid. This is bigger than what just happened. Something else is what I need to pay attention and listen to. So go back to your core. And on a good sunny day, you feeling great, everything's going right. Would that same situation make you respond and react in a way that it did? And if it didn't, something else might be the trigger, and it's not the cup of juice that just failed.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. That's good. That's how you should listen. And redefining self-care. So you mentioned that self-care looks different for everyone. What does self-care look
Yeah.
like for you specifically?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, self-care actually depends on my day. It depends on where I'm at. So I will say at work, I have a playlist that honestly will help dictate the moods that I'm in. If I feel as if I am having a stressful day, I will put on my Jesus mix because that is going to calm me, that's going to center me, and I can listen to that. If I'm happy or I want to get happy, I will often put on a Disney playlist, and those are things. If it's something that I cannot control on a computer and I feel as if I have to get out, I start moving. So whether that is I need to go to lunch, I need to sit in a restaurant, I need to go walk, I need to go work out, I need to read. It all depends on the severity and where I feel like myself is. And I've been saying this recently. I'm a look at the cup half full type of person. I will say I will recognize that something isn't right. I will recognize that something is bad, but I will recognize that it could be worse. I will recognize that, oh, I still have this. This is still that's going on. But recently, and I mean very recently, probably like a week or two ago, I was talking to someone and I said, my cup is still got empty, right? Like if I was operating on full and now my cup is half full, I still lost something, like some liquid some liquid came out, and I do need to refill that. But I got to figure out where that is that needs to be refilled. And sometimes that's not a massage. Sometimes that's not getting our nails done. Sometimes that is I need to eat candy today. Sometimes that is I need to walk. I need to figure it out. But as I mentioned, something as simple as the juice falling, you got to figure out at the core what's upset. So then that way you can refill that cup, because all of your cups are not probably operating on empty. It's just the one where you experience the loss in it, and you got to recognize where that loss is in order to refill it.
That's really good. Listen to your body so that you can refill your cups. And I like
Yeah.
the idea that you have more than one cup.
Yeah.
Is that kind of true? Do you have more than one
Yeah.
cup? I don't know.
Yeah. To me, I mean, I really do think it is. If I can feel satisfied at work, or I can feel
Mhm.
satisfied at home, but maybe I don't feel satisfied spiritually. Maybe that's a cup where I've lost something. I'm not empty, but maybe that's my half full cup. So I need to figure out and address how that needs to get full. I look at it the way that maybe doctors look at things. Like your whole body isn't under duress when you're sick. Like there's an area in which you got to target. But if you're targeting and putting energy into something that is well and good, then you're still neglecting the troubled area. You're still neglecting the cup that is empty. So even
Yeah,
identifying those cups of happiness, we got our health, we have our mental health, we have our physical health, we have relationships, whether that be romantic, kid, friendship. Which one of these cups are lacking? And when you look at it, figure out the ones that are, and then those are the ones that you need to figure out how do you take care of self and refill it.
that is great. I think that's something new that I've never really thought of, that we could have more than one cup.
Yeah. Yeah. Our
Yeah.
whole bodies aren't operating on empty.
Yeah. I like that. Let's move on to encourage some moms and dads, whoever's
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
What would you say to a parent who feels overwhelmed and trying to juggle everything? What is one boundary or something that you could say to them to pick to practice this week to try to lessen that overwhelm?
Okay. What do I say to a parent that is feeling overwhelmed is that they're not alone. This is not going to be the last time that you feel overwhelmed. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but this is not going to be the last time that you feel overwhelmed. Give yourself grace for how you respond when you are feeling overwhelmed. Do not make a permanent decision in your feelings of overwhelmedness over something that's temporary. And as I've been saying, listen to your bodies and refill the cups that are empty. Focus on that one area that you need to focus on.
That's really great. And you have so many successes. And you talked about how previously life and currently how life can get overwhelming and stressful. But what does success look like to you now compared to your earlier life?
Sure. Success in my earlier life looked like it was selfish. I can say it was self-inducing. It was my name on a pedestal, people knowing Tradara for that. Now, success, I define it as in legacy. Success is in these babies that I have walking around. Success is what is being talked about behind me, behind closed doors. Success is community. So I would say success is legacy, success is community, and it's something that honestly I don't know when I will see it and when I will feel it. And I would say I probably got that with working with students. A lot of times, and I'll say maybe even with teachers, you're in a thankless job. Sometimes you don't know somebody appreciates what you did for them or how you poured into them until they come back later. And I deem that the same way. My faith has gotten deeper too. So with that one, I would say that I want people to, I don't know, when it's all said and done, I just want to say, like, I want to know that I did a good job, and I want to know that I represented my kids well. I want to know that I represented my family well. I want to make sure I really represent, God well and all of that. So it's not selfish as much as it used to be. Now it's, like I said, legacy and community.
I really like that, legacy and community. That's so important. And I think it's important to try to figure out and notice when we are making a difference and when we are leaving that impact. Because,
Yeah, sure.
like you said, we might not notice, but we are. So I think it's important to try to take a moment and celebrate ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could leave our parents with one sentence to carry us through this week, what would it be?
That you are doing a good job. Keep it up. This work is not easy. This work is very hard. You have This is probably your first time being a parent of whatever you are. Right now, I am going into my parenting teenage years. I have never been the parent of a teenager. I have been a teenager, but I have never been the parent of a teenager. So give yourself grace as you are walking into parenting that you have never experienced it before. There is no handbook for how to do this. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you. That was really good. That was really encouraging. We all need to hear that. Thank you so much. And
You're
I'm
very
going to
welcome.
link all of your books and everything in the show notes so that we can all find you. But
Yeah.
if you would like to tell us where to find you.
Sure, sure, sure. So you can find me on TradaraMcLaurine.com. There you will be able to see the speaking engagements that I do. I have keynotes listed there, workshops that I have there. And then you'll also see the books. I have the 4 books: Why Mommy Works, Why Daddy Works, I Want a Nickname, and MVP's Playbook. And then I also have a resource there for our mental health, and that is called One Piece at a Time. That is a puzzle journal that you can use for yourself as well as for your littles. There's 2 different opportunities for you. And with that one, you journal your day on a blank puzzle. I really want you to see that when you have a bad day, when the picture is all said and done, it is still pretty. And sometimes you might not even be able to recognize that bad day. So TradaraMcLaurine.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This was such a great conversation. And I hope that you join us again on the Mommy Pod.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before we go, I just want to say thank you. The Mommy Pod is built in the middle of real life: work, kids, laundry, rebuilding, and dreaming. And every time you listen, share, or support what we create here, it truly matters. If this episode spoke to you, one of the best ways to keep this podcast going is by supporting our Mommy Pod products. From our children's books and activity books to our calming sprays and digital downloads designed for moms and parents and families. Everything you purchase goes directly back into keeping the show alive. And if you can't purchase right now, sharing this episode with another parent means just as much. Thank you for being here.